From the Cronkite Studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
Now that the midterm elections are over, immigration groups are pushing Obama to keep his promise on enacting reform. Plus, horses have been instruments of war for thousands of years, but one Tucson organization is finding a way to use them for healing. And these bees are taking flight, but they aren't coming back. How their disappearance could affect more than just the price of honey.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Annalise Ortiz. As the dust settles on the midterm elections, political leaders from both parties plan to tackle major issues like immigration. In a post-election statement, President Obama said he would use executive action to stop deportations before the new Republican majority gets to Congress. Speaker Boehner disapproves of the president's approach, saying executive action goes against the voters' wishes.
The American people made it clear Election Day. They want to get things done. And they don't want the president acting on a unilateral basis.
I'm eager to see what they have to offer. But what I'm not going to do is just wait.
Even though Obama said he does not plan on waiting, immigration advocates gathered today in Washington to drive home the point that there is no time to waste. Cronkite News reporter Stephen Hicks joins us now with more on what they had to say. Stephen?
Thanks, Annalise. It's been less than 48 hours since the election, after which time President Obama said he would act on immigration reform. Today, immigration groups from across the country came to Washington with a simple message. The time to act is now.
Mr. President, please cement your moment in history. This is a moment for you to balance the scales of justice.
They waited through the promises of the summer, but now that the elections are over, they've had enough.
We are tired of it. We're not going to stand for it, and we are going to join with our allies over the next couple months to continue to put pressure on the administration.
This coalition of immigration rights groups said today that they would continue to fight until something gets done. That begins with a rally tomorrow.
Hundreds and hundreds of families are going to be right over there in front of the White House, sending a very strong message to the president that it's time to act.
While a delay of just 1 week may not seem like much, it's too long for immigrant families facing fears of deportation. Families like Luis Lopez, who sought asylum at Tempe's University Presbyterian Church.
In Portland, Chicago, Tucson, Phoenix, and Denver, congregations are providing physical sanctuary to immigrant parents who are facing deportation orders. That movement is growing, but it's not enough.
Also in Washington today, House Speaker John Boehner said that if the president acted unilaterally, it would, quote, poison the well on immigration reform in this Congress. Live in Washington, D.C., Stephen Hicks, Cronkite News.
As Republicans celebrate their individual victories and their majority, Senator John McCain could be thinking of running one more time. McCain, the new chairman of the Armed Services Committee, met with supporters in Phoenix on Thursday to discuss a possible re-election campaign in 2016. At that point, the senior senator would be 80 years old. And Congressman-elect Ruben Gallego says he has big shoes to fill when it comes to replacing long-term Congressman Ed Pastor. But people who know both men say they're confident the shoes will be filled, but the walk will be different.
Ruben Gallego, I think, represents the new generation of Latino leaders across the country.
Whereas outgoing Congressman Ed Pastor represents a...
His style is the style of the way that Congress used to be many years ago.
Pastor's politics were dictated by the Golden Rule.
You got to treat every individual with respect.
People agree Congressman Pastor's style was effective.
And the way that he was able to disarm people with his personality and get things done.
But also say Pastor's replacement, Congressman-elect Ruben Gallego, has a style that's a better fit for today's Congress.
It's harder to get things done these days in a quiet manner, the way that Pastor has been able to do.
During Gallego's time in the State House, he quickly became known for his fighting spirit.
In the state legislature, it was important to fight when I had to.
Is that attitude, is that Ruben Gallego that I remember, going to be
influence or nervous in front of a room of 435?
Probably not.
Some believe filling the shoes of Congressman Pastor is no easy task.
I'm gonna have to work hard, twice as hard.
But others think it's time for a new pair of shoes.
They gotta have their own shoes.
In Washington, D.C., Brittany Bade, Cronkite News.
Now, Gallego will step into those shoes on January 3rd, 2015, if all goes as planned, and become part of the 114th United States Congress. Now, although the race for Congressional District 7 was a landslide victory for Gallego, there are still some races throughout the state that are just too close to call. Arizona's 2nd congressional district in the southern part of the state is represented by Democrat Ron Barber. As the results stand, Republican Martha McSally leads by 1,300 votes, with 100% of precincts reporting. But provisional ballots will decide the winner. Meanwhile, neither candidate for the state's top education position can claim a victory either. Republican Diane Douglas leads over Democrat David Garcia with nearly 28,000 votes. The key issue in Douglas's campaign was Common Core, and she says her lead shows the people's opposition to the education standards. Now, in regards to medical issues in Arizona, voters made their opinions known. 2 of the state's ballot initiatives regarding medical issues were met with overwhelming approval. Statewide Proposition 303, also known as the Right to Try initiative, will allow terminally ill patients in Arizona to try experimental drugs not approved by the Food and Drug Administration. And Proposition 480, a bond initiative in Maricopa County, will upgrade and expand the county's medical centers. Now, ASU students on the Tempe campus will soon be able to pick up their prescription medications the same way they pick up a quick snack, from a vending machine. The innovative machine is part of an effort to get medication to students faster. This is the newest addition to ASU's Health and Wellness Center.
The medication itself will come out there.
Where students used to see a pharmacy, they now see this machine, which will be operational in the next few weeks.
Those top medications that students utilize most frequently will be available for them.
InstyMed say this is the first machine of its kind in Arizona, and ASU students like the idea.
Moving to a place where anybody can get anything at any time is I think that's a good thing.
The machine will hold dozens of different medications, but no narcotics. InstyMeds also keeps close track of what's being dispensed. The top security feature of this machine is a voucher that's only good for 24 hours and a one-time use. It's also going to ask me to confirm my birth date before I can get my hands on any sort of medication. They also ensure there's no room for computer error.
The medications are actually triple scanned prior to it being dispensed to the student. So it will scan it once it's in the sleeve, it will scan it a second time and then a third time before it's dispensed.
As ASU transitions from an in-person pharmacy to the machine, students are relying on e-prescription services and picking up their medications at pharmacies near campus. That's been hard for some.
Right now I have a broken arm. And I was just thinking, if somebody had a broken leg or something, it would be very hard to go all the way over to the other sections of the campus.
But that's only until InstyMeds is ready for action at the end of the semester. Now, there's also a phone attached to that InstyMeds machine that allows patients to receive consultation services during business hours. Now let's go to Katrina Arroyos in the Cronkite News Media Center with what's coming up. Katrina?
Just in time for Veterans Day, a group of World War II vets take a trip of the lifetime. And after a harsh realities of war, Southern Arizona veterans are gaining confidence with the help of some large four-legged friends.
Who were the people that got us from there?
A world without glass, clean drinking water, time, or light.
To here.
These were hobbyists, garage inventors, and obsessive tinkerers. These are people who actually made the modern world, who set off an amazing chain reaction of ideas.
It's the story of How We Got to Now with Stephen Johnson, coming in October, only on PBS.
Arizona has been flying World War II veterans to Washington, D.C. since 2008 at no cost to the veterans. Yesterday, our Cronkite News reporter Stephen Hicks spent the day with a group of vets and has their story.
On a gray Washington day, a group of World War II veterans from Arizona saw for the first time the memorial to their service.
They get to come out and do this now and also see this wonderful memorial that's been built here for them, and they eat it up.
It was estimated this summer that only 1 million veterans from World War II are alive today.
The numbers that we're hearing is that there are about 1,000 a day of the World War II generation that are passing away.
They fought in the deadliest conflict in human history, and seeing it memorialized brought back a flood of emotions.
A stark reminder of how many lives were lost during that war. I certainly hope we never have anything like that ever again.
We're too quiet about these ugly things, and war is ugly. We'll die out, and they still won't know.
The trip wasn't just a time for reflection. Incredibly, it was also a time to catch up. Until yesterday's trip, Emmy and Eustace hadn't seen each other since they celebrated the end of the war in a small German town with a bottle of champagne.
I know just what went on.
On top of the World War II memorial, they saw the Lincoln Memorial, the Korean Memorial, and at Arlington Cemetery, one of the most reverent traditions of honor and respect, the changing of the guard at the Tomb of the Unknowns. Freedom isn't free. It comes from the sacrifices and risks taken by those who served in the military. But for this group of World War II veterans from Arizona, often called the greatest generation, they have no regrets.
It was what we did. We all felt that it was necessary, and I don't think any of us have any regret.
These guys came back, they went back to work, didn't really ask for a whole lot of thanks or anything.
Being received by people wherever we've gone in the Washington, D.C. area, it's been absolutely wonderful.
To get this opportunity, well, I thought that was amazing.
In Washington, Stephen Hicks, Cronkite News.
If you're a veteran interested in visiting the memorials, go to honorflightaz.org. The city of Mesa is looking to return a U.S. Army uniform to its rightful owner. The green uniform has a patch with the Army crest for the 11th Armored Cavalry on the shoulder and an Army Allen's pin representing the cavalry. It has a Ramirez name tag. Also seen is a pin with 2 crossed rifles on the lapel and a cut on the sleeve. The uniform was confiscated by Mesa Police and given to the City of Mesa warehouse, where items are sold to the public.
The uniform came in, and it was one of those things that you really don't want to put out and sell as for like a Halloween costume or whatever. You'd like to find the rightful owner. If they served and that means that it's important to them, we'd like to get it back to them.
If you know the owner, you should contact the City of Mesa to schedule an appointment to see the jacket. A program in Tucson is helping veterans get back in the saddle. The therapeutic riding of Tucson is known as Trot. As Megan Guthrie reports, it's all part of the Heroes on Horses program.
As the dust kicks up, riders take the reins at this horse property in Tucson.
Okay, get ready to go. Let's go, let's go.
Navy veteran Joseph Bailey Jr. went from a wheelchair due to a spinal cord injury to now saddling up.
There was a process of learning how to walk again. I had lost the ability due to paralyzation on the left side of my body. This is right now my 12th year of rehabilitation, so I've come a long way.
Since 2006, Trot has used horses as therapy, helping veterans heal from various injuries, including traumatic brain injuries, post-traumatic stress disorder, and spinal trauma.
We feel that we created a program here that honors the service that our military veterans have given us. And to us, they are our heroes.
The program is free to veterans, and many are referred from the Southern Arizona VA.
Trot's a special place, and they understand veterans and they treat veterans in a special way, and they feel that.
Riders attend the weekly sessions using horses to not only heal their bodies, but for some to find trust and companionship.
Coming back here, working with the horse, has helped me build trust with the horse, and by me building the trust with the horse, it's helped me build trust with other people.
Emotionally, the connection with the horse is so important, and that's the big piece of riding that I think other therapies don't have that make it so special.
Each horse listens, waiting for their rider's command.
Don't act about it today. It's a great relationship to have. When I talk with him, whisper in his ear, rub him down, clean his hoofs, it allows me to feel safe around him.
Another riding session ends, working with veterans to honor these heroes on horses. In Tucson, Megan Guthrie, Cronkite News.
Currently, there are 6 riders in the program, but Trot is accepting more veterans. For more information on how to join, visit trotarizona.org. And we now go to our Los Angeles bureau with Mark Mingura with some big sports news.
The game isn't until Saturday, but Sun Devil fans are already lining up. We'll preview one of the biggest matchups this football season. Let the races begin. Meet one rider who is making a difference on this Valley BMX track.
How do we educate in a rapidly changing world?
How can we create a sustainable way of life?
How can we teach peace?
Arizona State University. Rise to the challenges before us.
Hard to believe, it's the beginning of November. I've got the ocean at my back. It's mid-80s and sunny. We call that Pac-12 season here in Southern California. This week, UCLA's Jim Mora returns to Seattle, where he played college football at the University of Washington. And his Bruins will face a tough Husky team who will have the advantage of playing at home in an important conference game where temperatures will be about 30 degrees cooler than it has been this week in Westwood. Now, the current leader in the North, Oregon, better watch out. Lying in wait is Utah, a team that has already taken down both of our LA Pac-12 powers, UCLA and USC. And of course, number 9, Arizona State, hosts number 10 Notre Dame in a huge game that some are calling one of the biggest of the season because of the possible implications for the college football playoff. Game time is set for 1:30. ASU is one of 6 teams that control their destiny for the title hunt. A win this weekend against the Irish further solidifies their push for the title. At that point, only Arizona and Pac-12 North Championship in all likelihood would stand in their way. Of course, that means Camp Fargo is already back in effect for student Sun Devils. Football fans have been camping out for days to get those coveted student section seats. Tents have already wrapped around Wells Fargo Arena, and students will be able to pick up their tickets starting at 6:30 a.m. on game day.
This game is absolutely huge. All right, it's 2 teams that are 7-1, and ASU Notre Dame, it's 2 top 10 teams. It's a no-brainer to camp out.
Sun Devil fans, be warned. The Devils are expected to be without starter Jackson Hood on the D-line and might be missing left guard Christian Westerman with a knee injury. Defensive end Demetrius Cherry will be back for the Devils after serving a suspension. If you prefer the tire iron to the gridiron, Phoenix International Raceway is the place to be this weekend, with NASCAR Nationwide and Sprint Cup Series events. Cronkite sports reporter Ariana Graney is live at PIR right now, where fans are making their way to the infield. Ariana?
Out here at PIR, fans are getting super excited for this race. The Sprint Cup is the final race. This is the final race in the Eliminator Series with 4 drivers going through the championship race at Homestead in Miami.
Whether you're the very best or not quite the best, you still have a chance to make it, and it's freaking awesome.
Unfortunately, I think maybe some of the fights are kind of giving it a WWE feel, which I'm not sure that's the direction NASCAR should be going, but if it helps sell tickets, I guess maybe it would help it gain popularity.
There are 8 drivers still left in the race. After Sunday's Quicken Loans Race for Heroes 500, there will be 4. Joey Logano is in his first and with 5 season wins. Live at PIR, I'm Ariana Graney, Cronkite News.
There's a different kind of race course building dreams in Phoenix. We're talking about BMX racing. Reporter Elle Johns takes us trackside for a program made especially for kids with special needs.
To the naked eye, Patrick Harrison is a normal 7-year-old BMX biker. He gears up, waits at the starting line, and races his bike down the track just like all the other racers. But what you can't see is that Patrick was diagnosed with autism.
When he first came out, he was so in himself, and
Now he's just Mr. Socialite out here. You know, he's just this bubble that he knows everybody, everybody knows him. It's the self-confidence. It's just like this whole transformation.
His mother credits his progress in large part to his experiences at the bike track.
Since he's been out here, he's just opened up to that socialization with his peers.
One of the advantages of the programs is the integration of all the kids.
We don't want it to be this program and then, you know, these kids and these kids. We want this to be, they're all our kids, so we want them to come together, enjoy this sport, come out here and get dirty and have fun.
But the kids with special needs aren't the only ones benefiting.
Learning good sportsmanship, riding with other kids and helping them out and making them better.
We're out here trying to teach life lessons to these kids. Really has nothing to do with bicycles, what we're doing out here. We're trying to be that partnering of bringing these young people up to go out in the community and be that good person.
Life lessons for them and the ride of a life for Patrick. In Phoenix, Elle Johns, Cronkite News.
Based on the success that Patrick has had on the track, Black Mountain launched a program called Rip It Now, offering clinics for kids with special needs. Well, that's it from the West Coast. Let's send it back to Annalise Ortiz in Phoenix for what's next on Cronkite News.
Thanks, Mark. Scientists fear they're a dying breed. We're talking about bees. What Arizona researchers say we need to do to save our economy and health from bee colony collapse. Welcome back. President Obama has approved Governor Jan Brewer's request for federal assistance in 2 Arizona counties. Almost 2 months after severe flooding across the valley, federal funding is now available for La Paz and Maricopa counties through the Public Assistance Program and the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program. The government plans to reimburse about 75% of costs for the damages of the floods. And luckily, that storm season is behind us now. Let's check in with Brooke Wazowitz for our forecast.
Thanks, Annalise. Luckily, the storms are far past us, and we're experiencing beautiful weather right now. It's 85 degrees with only 13% humidity, and it's been clear and sunny all day today. So clearly that sweater weather has not hit us just yet. Let's take a look at the rest of the state. We have 65 degrees in Page, 72 here in Prescott, 88 in Yuma, and then down in Tucson, it's 78 degrees right now. If you take a closer look in and around the valley, you can see that we're all relatively similar in that mid-80 range. We have 83 degrees in Scottsdale, 85 in Tempe, and over here in Goodyear, 84 degrees. And luckily, that warm temperature is here to stay for the big game this weekend with ASU versus Notre Dame. The game is going to be this Saturday at 1:30, so if you guys have time to go out there and support your Sun Devils, it's going to be perfect weather. Let's take a look at our 5-day forecast. We're going to be in the mid to low range, 80 range for the rest of this week and into next week as well. So fall has not hit us just yet. For Cronkite Weather, I'm Brooke Wazowitz.
Thanks, Brooke. Now, when people think of bees, they think of them as a nuisance. But as Lacey Darrow reports, bees are an important part of our ecosystem, and they're in danger.
With buzzing bees hard at work, plants are being pollinated, crops are growing, and food is being produced. But recently, beekeepers like Dennis Arp have been noticing something rather alarming with their beehives.
Last year, we had hives, a group of 120 hives up near Mormon Lake, and we moved 120 in, and we only moved 60 out. We had like 50% losses.
In recent years, bees have been dying or mysteriously vanishing from their hives. This condition is often called colony collapse disorder. Although the exact cause can be different from hive to hive, the effect is all the same. The demand for bees becomes higher, farmers will pay more for the bees, and the price of the produce goes up, costing you more money at the grocery store.
If you're fortunate enough to not suffer from all this colony collapse stuff and be in an area where you can really produce a bumper honey crop, it's great.
A beekeeper with healthy bees can charge more for their services and make more in return, but researchers like Dr. Gloria DeGrande Hoffman says it's only a matter of time before everyone feels the impact.
We've been hovering around 30% colony losses for several years now. I have known beekeepers who have lost much more than 30%, and that's a real economic hardship on the beekeeper.
Dr. DeGrande Hoffman has dedicated almost 30 years to studying bees at the Carl Hayden Bee Research Center. She's especially interested in what bees eat.
If you don't have good nutrition, you're more susceptible to pathogens and disease because your immune system is not reacting at its full potential.
She hopes that by studying the nutrition of bees, we can have a better understanding of how to keep them healthy.
That's my goal, is to reduce these losses.
She said that if we continue to see a dramatic loss in bee colonies, it will have an impact on the nation's food supply and economy.
It would really hurt productivity of United States agriculture greatly.
A $775 billion industry. From Tucson, Lacey Darrow, Cronkite News.
Now, if you want to help keep bees healthy, there are a few simple things you can do at home. Plant flowers, avoid pesticides, and talk to others about the importance of bees. Well, that's all we have for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us. Good night.